Broadcasting live from Witch's Cottage on the plain of Eldraine. This is Tap Tap Concede. Hello and welcome. Graham here.
James here.
And I'm Nelson.
And we're going to be talking about some Throne of Eldraine this week, and also the recent State of the Beta update from Arena, and all the good things and the one bad thing that came out of that. Before we do that, however, of course, we're going to crack a pack. And before we do that, we're going to talk to you about Card Kingdom. Tap Tap Concede is brought to you by cardkingdom.com. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR, because that puts our promo code on there, which lets them know that we sent you. And we do that because we think they're great. We use them ourselves. Good prices. Preposterously fast shipping. Their shipping is so good, it's a meme. And you can say, Loading Ready Run sent me a button, please, and they'll give you a little 1-inch button, which currently, I believe, says, in response, I concede. And also, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. If you are listening to this podcast, a reminder that we have forked our YouTube channel, and the YouTube versions of this are now on their own LRR MTG website. And if you are watching this on that website, please subscribe, because first of all, I'm kind of blown away with how quickly and well it did shoot up. We got 20,000 subs in the first couple days there, which was fantastic.
Thanks.
But if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do, because this is now the home for all of Loading Ready Run's Magic stuff. So this, North 100, the Sick Rips, their stream VODs, archive of Friday nights will be forthcoming. It's going to take a while to get those all online. Obviously, we've got to go find the high quality originals. Actually, I think that some of the ones that we sent early in the earlier seasons were only ever output at 720 for Wizards, and we should be able to actually put those up in 1080 now.
Fancy.
Wow.
So you can see all of our young pores.
Special edition.
Welcome to the future.
Pores.
Yeah, but back before James looked just like Adam, he looked just like Jeremy.
It's true.
Yeah, it's
amazing. It's amazing what 1080 can do for you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in relation to Throne of Eldraine and Card Kingdom, of course, the pre-order for Throne of Eldraine, if you want to get your product, apparently it ships on October 4th. So cool. Get in on that.
We also did our Throne of Eldraine preview video. We had 5 commons to preview, and I guess we'll talk about those a little later in the podcast. But first, James, roll that big die. Let's see where we're going for the... Oh, goodbye. Right off the table. Where's it going?
10.
2.
Made it all the way over there.
We're going to crack a pack.
8, 9, 10. Oh-ho. Ooh. Saviors of Kamigawa.
Nice.
This is not labeled.
Uh-oh.
Well,
what over the inside?
Nope.
Thank you, anonymous giver of Kamigawa packs.
Thank you to whomever sent us this pack of Saviors of Kamigawa. Now, when we did UV Wheeler, was this the pack that you were worried about, or was this the one that you knew about?
I think we both just dodged this pack because we both assumed the other would be fine with it. Like, for example, you just opened Barrel Down Sokenzan, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 generic and a red for like an instant with sweep, and it gives target creature +X where X is the number of mountains you put back in your hand.
That's probably the green sweep one. This is
damage to a creature?
Damage,
Darn it. Okay, I thought there was a red pump one too.
Barrel Down Sokenzan, 2 in a red, instant arcane.
Yeah, I got that. I didn't say arcane.
Yeah.
It's arcane.
And then sweep. Yeah, sweep is a terrible mechanic. Return any number of mountains you control to their owner's hand, and Barrel Down Sokenzan deals damage to target creature equal to twice the number of mountains returned this way.
So, like...
There's 5 cards with sweep, right?
Yeah, no, there's 10. There's 2 cycles.
Is there really?
Yeah, there's uncommons and
I didn't think there was that many cards with sweep.
I think there's 10. Anyways, there's definitely an uncommon one. So Barrel Down Sokenzan is really bad. You don't want to sunder yourself, or sorry, I'm just blanking on the name of that card that returns all permanents. Every single one. It's upheaval? 4 generic and 2 blue. Yeah, you don't want to upheaval yourself just to kill a creature.
Yeah.
But Charge Across the Erraba is playable.
Okay. So this could go to the Dome. That'd be fun.
That'd be fine too.
That would be a hell of a finisher.
There's a black one that makes them discard.
Right, that one's okay. Sink into Tekanuma. Yeah,
that
charge
one.
across the Araba, 5 mana. So yeah, I think there must be 10 or at least 6.
Okay, so charge across the Araba, 4 and a white, sweep for planes and creatures get +1/+1.
And it's
so
an
that
instant.
that could kill your opponent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This
So
can't.
if you can kill your opponent, you don't mind your lands being in your hand. So this one, and like the Mind Twist one, you can kind of win the game from there. Like if you have a better board and they like tap out to play a creature that you can attack through, then you can just like tap all your mana, return all your lands, and Mind Twist them, and then probably win in 3 turns or whatever, right? So, anyways,
I mean, there's a pretty well used red finisher that's just sack all your mountains, right, to do a bunch of damage.
couple, yeah.
So Fire Blast is sack 2 mountains instead of pay its mana cost.
And
deal 4.
and Devastating Summons is you have to pay red, and you can sack any number of lands to make just 2 big tokens, but then it gets played in a deck with the goblins that give them haste.
Right, but all of that stuff only works because it can do damage to the player, so
Yeah.
you just use it as your finisher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, we have Minamo Scroll Keeper, 1 in
One-
blue.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No. I got it.
All
You
right,
just read
1
the card.
blue for a 2/3 human wizard with Defender, and your maximum hand size is increased by 1.
I think I had this one. I think I was going to say it was increased by 2, but that's fine. It's
All
almost-
You want to try Okina Nightwatch?
Yeah, 1 and a black for
No.
I'm thinking of the wrong Night Watch. Okay, that's fine. I'm out.
4 and a green for a 4/3 human monk.
All right.
As long as you
The
have more
monks.
cards in your hand than each opponent, Okina Nightwatch gets +3/+3. I forgot hand size was a relevant
Yeah.
big
sub
thing in
mechanic.
this
Across
in
the
this
whole
one,
set, I
yeah.
think. Yeah, hand size matters.
Death Mask Nizumi.
2 and a black for a 2/2 fear.
Close.
Can't block. No.
2/2 Rat Shaman.
Oh, it's
as
another
long as
hand
you
size
have
one.
7 or
I
more
remembered
cards
the
in
art.
hand.
Yeah.
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 It's honestly great art.
So good.
So yeah, 2/2
Yeah.
for 2 and a black. As long as you have 7 or more cards in your hand, Death Mask Nizumi gets +2/+1 and fear. So neat.
This guy has probably got a belly, and I could cosplay him, right?
Oh yeah. That would be sweet actually.
It'd be a really cool cosplay.
I like
actually.
the idea. You could probably
He's
get
got
some,
my hairline too.
probably get some pretty good not actually wood, like fake wood, like
Yeah.
foam to look like wood for like the shoulder and wrist panels. That'd
Yeah.
be sweet. Kitsune Dawnblade.
Either 2 or 4 and a white.
4 and a white.
4 and a white for now I can't remember. It's a fox
Yeah.
samurai.
Yep.
With I just want to say like 3/3 Bushido 2
2/3 Bushido 1.
and
ETB
something?
tap a creature.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Pretty good actually.
That actually seems.
That seems
yeah,
Guys,
not bad.
this is a 5 mana 2/3. It's not that good.
Oh yeah, right. It's 5 mana.
It's
yeah.
too much mana. No,
Oh, it doesn't tap. I'm sorry. I was thinking it taps when it attacks. That's
no
not
that
nearly
would be
so good.
fine. That
That'd
would just
good,
be a
yeah.
bad Sable Crown Stag or whatever. Yeah.
Spiraling Embers.
3 and a red.
Yeah.
Instant arcane, or maybe it's I think it's an instant.
It's a sorcery.
Deal sorcery. Okay. Deal to any target damage equal to the number of cards in your hand.
Yes.
Nice.
Good job.
It's a sorcery. Okay.
Dosan's Oldest Chant.
Piece of cake. 4 and a green for a sorcery arcane. Gain 6 life. Draw a card.
It's not arcane, but otherwise you nailed it.
Ah, it's not arcane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Right. Dosan, a human, not a spirit.
Is that-
Of course.
Is this card good?
No.
Okay. Good. Just checking. Nat Miser.
Oh yeah, 1 black for a 1/1. I forget the creature type. It's a rat.
Yeah.
Some kind of rat. It might not. Rat shaman maybe.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, your opponent's hand size is decreased by 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dude, stop hogging all the gnats. Yeah. The gnats were meant for everyone.
How come every time I pass the turn, you untap, upkeep, draw a gnat?
I love. Yeah, the Nizumi insect shamans enjoyed solitary lives, which was fortunate because no other Nizumi could stand to live within half a mile of their foul stench.
The other Nizumi, that's the rat people. They normally can deal with bad
That
spells.
sounds awful. Yeah. Araba Moth Rider.
Oh, this card's actually good for the format. 3 generic and 1 white for a 2/2 flying Bushido 1.
That is a different card.
Shoot, what's this one?
This is 1 and a white for a 1/1 flying with Bushido 1.
Okay. Yeah,
I like
this
your version better.
Mine, yeah, paying twice as much for almost twice this card, but it always attacks for 2 is a little better. Maybe my card, I'm thinking of the same class of people, but from the first set.
There's more moths.
Yeah, there's like another Moth Riding Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inner
Might be.
Fire.
Oh, this is a mana generation card.
Yeah.
2 and 2 red for... No, we're wrong already?
CMC is correct. It's 3 and a red.
Oh, okay, 3 and a red for like make a red mana for every card in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much Saviors had this like hand size
Yeah.
matters mechanic. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
The naturalize that draws a card as long as you had more cards in your hand than your opponent was pretty popular. It was like 2 and a green, or sorry, 2 green and 1 for an instant that blows up an artifact or enchantment, and then you draw a card.
that's the,
Moth Rider Samurai is who I was thinking of. Hey, at least I got that card right. Ha ha.
That's from the other set.
Yeah, it's from
Interesting.
the first set, so they made him half as big for this set.
Weird. Murmurs from Beyond.
1 blue. No, wait, which is 2 blue and 1? This is one of the ones that gets the unspeakable, right? Is this
No.
no?
This is it seems like it's from the
It's a blue card.
yeah, it's from that like search cycle kinda. It's like not cycle, but like it's in the same realm as like Frantic Search and whatever.
Okay.
So it's 2 and a blue, instant arcane. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library, and opponent chooses 1.
Right.
That goes into your graveyard and the other 2 go into your hand.
Okay, cool.
So it's by from that kind of realm I mean like a 2 and a blue instant and you get 2 cards.
Yeah.
But there's something goes to the graveyard, that kind of thing. You know,
Yes.
like Thirst for Knowledge, you draw 2 and then you discard unless you discard 2 unless one of them's an artifact, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Sort of from that, only like really bad.
yeah, I've just never seen this one in a cube, whereas all the other ones have gotten into cubes.
Yeah.
Eganjo Free Riders. Speaking of people riding moths.
Yeah. Okay, I should know this one, but I just don't. I'm
All right,
sorry.
that's okay. It's
Yeah.
3 and a white for a 3/4 human soldier with flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, return a white creature you control to its owner's hand.
Oh, I see. I didn't know what it was because this is a first pick in draft.
Is
Cool.
it really?
Well,
It
it's
looks pretty
I mean,
sweet.
it's
clearly the strongest card in the pack so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have a teeny white creature, but then you just get a 3/4 flyer.
Or you could
and
just
you probably get to
just wheel that 5-drop that taps their creature and then just spend 5 and win the game.
yeah, I mean, you probably get to like abuse some ETB effects doing this.
Yeah.
All these moth riders should be insects in addition to their other types.
Well,
It's
it's
like
always
Mantis
the-
Rider isn't an insect, it's a human, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's the knight who's doing all the work. The moth is a tool, unfortunately.
Burning Eyes Zubera.
Burning Eye Zubera. Okay, so this one it's one of the uncommon. We're in the uncommons now, so it's not Ember Eye. So it should be more expensive than just 2 mana.
Correct.
It is a 1/2 Spirit Zubera. I think it has both types.
It is a Zubera Spirit. It's a 3/3.
Okay. Oh, it's a 3. Okay, so I think it's either 2 red and 2 generic, or 4 generic and 1 red.
It's
and
2.
then-
It's 2 red.
Yeah, 2 red for a 3/3, and then the dies trigger is like do something equal to the number of times the Zubera died this turn, and that something is not just 2 damage to any target. I want to say it's like, is it 3 damage to each creature? Does it like sweep creatures?
No. So it's if 4 or more damage was dealt to the Zubera when it dies, then it deals 3 damage to
Dang.
any target.
Wow.
What
Okay.
a weird card.
Wow. This one doesn't even make it into the Zubera theme decks or whatever because it doesn't always work.
I didn't know
Weird.
there was Zubera decks.
Yeah, no. So the Zuberas are this two sets of cycles of a creature in all 5 colors that count how many Zuberas died this turn.
Weird.
Yeah,
Because the Zuberas were the
They want-
evil spirits.
maybe
Right.
I don't know. Yeah,
And
I don't know the lore of the set enough.
The
Sorry.
Kami were the good spirits.
I thought
sounds right.
I thought Kami just were spirits.
Spirits?
Yeah.
I don't remember anymore. Shifting Borders. Well, that's a weird card.
2 generic and 2 blue for like choose a color.
No.
That's all I got.
This is so weird.
Okay.
3 and a blue, instant arcane, and it has splice onto arcane for 3 and a blue. Exchange control of 2 target lands.
Right.
Oh, God.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Nice.
So
It's a neat one.
people were talking about because the we'll get to arena in just a moment because there is a rare that there was the brawl decks, and the brawl theme decks have command tower,
Yeah.
meaning that technically, for the first time ever, command tower is now both modern and standard legal.
Sure.
It just doesn't do anything. And someone was like, well, you could use role reversal and give it to your opponent. It's like land destruction, but it takes 2 cards to do it.
Nice.
Anyway, it's the Never-Ending Torment.
Never-ending torment.
Never-Ending Torment is our rare. What the hell is this?
I want to say it's like 5 and a black for
Oh.
a sorcery,
4 black. So
4
CMC
black,
was
black.
correct.
and then It's arcane, or it's the epic one?
Yes, it has epic.
And it destroys their deck.
Search target player's library for X cards, where X is the number of cards in your hand, and exile them. Then that player shuffles their library.
You cast it every upkeep, but you don't ever cast any.
You can't cast anything else. Epic means
Hashtag bring Epic back.
There was only five cards. There was a rare in each color.
Yep.
And epic means you cast this spell, and then every upkeep you get to cast this spell again for free, but you can't cast any other spell for the rest of the game.
Best mechanic ever.
James just likes being an autoplay board game. He doesn't want to have the decisions anymore.
Because I had the green
the snake
epic.
One.
Yeah, I had the green epic in my old Snake Mander deck and made it work once, where I just got to pump out so many snakes every turn.
They should bring back
another. Fun.
They should bring back another cycle of epic cards for Commander set. I don't want them to put them in a standard
Oh,
booster pack
God,
set again.
no.
But I
No.
would love to see another cycle of epic cards in a Commander.
I think that'd be
set.
great.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Arena. Lots of
good stuff.
Yeah, lots of good stuff, and like I said, a thing that nobody likes.
We have to talk about some of the good stuff before we can get to the bad stuff.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So Brawl. So this was the surprise. This was what the countdown was leading up to.
Best spoiler season yet.
It was great.
Yeah.
For 24 hours, every 2 hours, they did this countdown from 12 all the way down to 1. We were number 9 for our spoiler video. And at the end of the countdown, the surprise was the 4 pre-con Brawl decks that they're releasing with Throne of Eldraine were live on Arena in a Brawl event that you can play right now.
For free.
For free. And it's the same sort of like thing that they've been doing where one win and you get a bunch of experience, and then as you get through all 6 wins, you get a bunch of stuff. So they previously the ones that they've been doing through the season have been you get cool land, and the ones for this is you actually get play sets of cards from Throne of Eldraine, which is pretty cool.
Just uncommons, but still.
Yeah. And the decks are sweet, and it's cool how they've got Brawl working on Arena now, and it's live, and and the like I said, the decks are super fun, and
So Adam and I played it yesterday on Lure MTG.
On stream,
I saw that.
We 6-0'd.
Nice.
And we played through every deck once, and then played, I think, the Knights deck again and the Bant deck again.
Yeah.
And managed to get all 6 wins, which felt really good. The decks are super fun.
They're
all 4 are great.
All of them are fun. I've found the most busted to be Tulane.
Yes.
Tulane is
100%
unreal. Are you familiar with this,
Wait,
Nelson?
I did the same thing James did just about. I only played the Knights deck once, but I played the Bant deck twice and the Dragon deck 3 times. Or two? No, I guess I played those 2 decks twice each because I also went 6-0 and I played every deck.
Yeah, I just had so much. So Tulane, I don't
Maybe I did lose
recall.
one
It's
game.
like his name is Tulane, something, and
It's like Teller of Tales, maybe?
something like that.
Something like that,
So
yeah.
he's a 2/4 for 2 and
Bant. He's 5 mana.
Yeah. And so
He's got Vigilance.
Right, there we go. Tulane, Teller of Tales. 2/4 Vigilance. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, and 3 and tap to return a creature you control to its owner's hand. So you just start going off.
It actually seems weird to me that this card's going to be legal in Standard and Modern.
If they don't immediately start killing Tulane, which is what often happened, was that they would just be like, removal spell, removal spell, removal spell.
But then you just play it for 7 and 9 because your deck's fine with doing that too, right?
Yeah, because your deck just gets lots of mana.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
If you're playing a commander that your opponent feels like they have to always kill, that's great.
Yeah. So for me, this one felt a little. I had way more fun with the Esper.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I think I overheard, because I wasn't actually watching the whole stream.
Alayla?
I overheard you guys say that the first time you played with this deck, you didn't actually cast Tulane.
We didn't even have to.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying,
we just ran
cast the
over.
elephant
with
and then counter the
Tulane
spells. Yeah.
out.
The
deck
got,
is
and
filthy.
in the second game, we got Tulane out and managed to do some pretty ridiculous things. But for my money, I thought this was actually even more powerful.
Alayla's
certainly
pretty
wins
ridiculous.
Because
quicker.
you can just completely overrun your opponent with these 1/1s that are actually 2/2s.
So Alayla, Artful Provocateur, is 1 white, blue, black, so 1 and an Esper. For a legendary Fairy Warlock.
Hell yeah.
And I believe Warlock is a brand new subtype.
Yep. I don't think we've had Warlocks before.
Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. Other creatures with flying. I'm sorry, I'll say it more slowly. Flying and Death Touch and Lifelink. And other creatures you control with flying get +1/+0. And then, whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, you make a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. So now, actually, I guess I should say these aren't the pre-constructed Brawl decks as you will be able to buy them, because Brawl is intended as a multiplayer format, and there are cards in these decks as you'll be able to purchase them at retail that they swapped
Yes.
for Arena, because there's cards that
Effect.
have effects with multiple opponents.
Right.
Oh,
I don't-
in Arena, it's only 1v1.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details of what
Yeah.
which cards they pulled out and which cards they put in.
I'm
I
not
did
even-
not deep dive that far.
Yeah, I'm not even sure from the announcement. Like, do we know if these cards are going to be available like both on paper and will they be legal in standard? Because those both seem like good questions.
Yeah, I believe that everything in the Brawl decks will be legal and standard. But I don't.
exciting, yeah.
For example, these commanders, I believe, are not in the set. I think it's
No,
like the
yeah.
Planeswalker
Right.
kits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the commanders and possibly other cards from the Brawl decks are legal and standard, but not in the booster packs.
Well, I mean, the format's changing, and I'm usually wrong about standard predictions, but all of these legendary creatures to me seem like viable options for like
Yeah.
various decks. Like, sure, they're going to do better as Brawl commanders, but if you wanted to build a like Chulane deck with 4 copies of Chulane and a bunch of like mana dorks like that elemental 0/3, and then you're just gonna power out like cycling through your deck, that seems fine. Or you just play some rocks or that sweet wishing well.
Mm-hmm. And we now understand, and it plays very well when you're actually doing it, how adventures work.
Right.
How that sort of mechanic works with Paul, if you're able to bring up one of my favorites, actually, Beanstalk Giant, just because of how well the whole story comes together really, really well. So Beanstalk Giant is a star giant for 6 and a green, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control.
You get a deck on Blackblade. Yeah.
But then it has this sorcery adventure, and you might have seen this on some of the cards that have been spoiled. And the way that this works is you can cast Beanstalk Giant as a sorcery named Fertile Footsteps for 2 and a green. So you cast the sorcery, which is you search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. Then you exile the Beanstalk Giant, and then you can cast the Beanstalk Giant from exile.
Correct.
So the way that all these creatures that have this adventure sorcery thing work is you can just cast them as a creature. You can just do that. You cast them as a creature, and that's what they are. They're a creature. That's it. Nothing fancy happens. Or you can cast the adventure sorcery first and then the creature later. And this one, I just like how it all ties together. Like it's a expensive rampant growth, but then you get a creature out of the same card later, so you're getting 2 effects on 1 card, which is always a good idea.
It's not just 1 more mana expensive, because like all the rampant growth effect that costs 2 mana that we've seen lately at least put the land into play tapped.
Yeah.
Oh, right. This doesn't even come in tapped. Yeah.
You actually do just like get 1 of your mana back immediately. So it's like a 2 mana rampant growth. You just can't cast it on turn 2.
The is it Midnight something? The one that Victor Adame Minguet. The one that Victor Adame illustrated, although there's also a like fancy border
Order of
version
Midnight.
that Seb McKinnon did. Order of Midnight, thank you.
Order of Midnight.
So check this one out.
Yeah.
2/2 flyer.
Spoiled for good art, this card.
So
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
2/2 flyer, can't block for 1 and a black. And then the adventure is called Alter Fate, which is return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. That's also 1 and a black. So if you do that all in the same turn, that's 2 black for a flying Gravedigger
Yeah.
that can't block. That
Pretty
sounds
hot.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Popper would be so happy if they were getting this card. Sorry, Popper. But this card, I think, is going to be an extremely high pick in draft, because all these sorceries are all the. Is there a name for them? Adventure cards? All
I
these,
think just adventures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all these creatures that have a sorcery strapped onto them they're just, that's just this pile of value you can get into your draft deck, and then when they die, like after your Beanstalk Giant dies or your other Order of Midnight dies, it's a creature card in your graveyard. So particularly Order of Midnight is really good because it can get back these adventure / creatures to just reload and have gas for days.
So I don't know how you get the alternate border ones.
I think they're in the packs.
Those are in the collector packs.
Right, in the collector packs, not
only
the
in the
draft
collector
packs.
packs?
I believe so.
Okay, so that's the thing, is there's a bunch of information about these collector boosters that are fancier and more expensive, and frankly, I have not dove deeply enough into the announcement. I'm sure that people listening understand it better than I do at the moment. I'll come back to you when I have a better handle
so
on it.
As far as I know, there are 3 boosters going forward. There's the standard, what they're calling a draft booster.
Yeah, this is an old announcement,
which
too.
is yeah. But they reiterated it on the announcement
video,
video with that Jimmy hosted the other day.
Okay.
With Rosewater, and I cannot remember her name. I apologize. So there's the draft booster, which is a booster as we've known and loved for many, many years. There's the theme booster, which is
those they already had. There was one of those for Ravnica.
Yeah, and now they're bringing them back. And it's the same thing where there's like
35 cards and they're all in one
color. It's like 35 or 45 or something. It's a lot of cards, but yeah, they are color specific.
Yeah,
so there's 5 of those. And then there's the collector's booster, which I think is also a 15 card standard booster pack, but that is where you find these. That's where you find the full art extended border planeswalkers. And I feel like there's one other thing in there, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But those collector boosters are where you find all the fancy stuff.
Golden ticket to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to Arena, because we sort of got distracted by Throne of Eldraine there, because these things look amazing. So they announced that the Brawl thing. So that's cool, because they said that they were going to bring Brawl to Arena. They're referring to rotation as renewal season.
Yes.
So we are now this month is the season of renewal, which is how they're wording set rotation.
Look forward to us making more jokes about that later.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I updated the client and booted it up, there was a cool graphic being like, here's all the sets, and then Throne of Eldraine comes out at the front, and then standard shifts like this, and these packs go away. It was a very clean illustration of like how standard is going to change. And then if you log in during this season, then you get a gift. You get like bonus stuff after set rotation happens. So make sure you log in sometime this month before the 26th. And so that's just sort of how they're theming that. You get like this glowy egg, which tells you that later you're going to get a prize for it. And if you are on the mastery track, or actually if you're not either, the Corset 2020 experience track, no matter which one you're on, that ends on September 26th. So if you've, like we said several episodes back, if you have not bought the mastery pass and are waiting to see at the end of the season what level you're at before you buy it, if you want to be like, okay, I'm going to cash it in for all these prizes, your last day to do that will be the morning of the 26th. Maybe don't leave it till the morning.
It might be the day before sometimes, because the seasons.
I would just do it on the 25th.
The seasons end on the noon of like the last day.
So I think it's noon on the 26th, but
and noon Pacific.
Yeah.
Maybe double check that on the 25th.
Anyway, the point is that's going to be your deadline for that. For me, I bought the pass, so I'm at level 70 something. So I'm just like
getting prizes.
Going to try and do as much as I can up until that point. So yeah. But the big news from their big State of the Beta update was Historic.
Also related to rotation.
Yeah. So so Historic was announced a while ago as the sort of the eternal format for Arena, because when rotation happens, of course, there's a bunch of cards on Arena that are going to be no longer in Standard, specifically Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, Corset 2019, and Dominaria. That's it, right?
Sounds right.
Yep.
And so, they're like, so what's going to happen? And people had suspected for some time that they would be introducing an eternal Arena format, and they said that they were. It's called Historic, and it's going to be everything that's available on Arena. Cool. They had. I'm actually going to pull up the article briefly, because they mentioned that there was feedback from people, and they took it on board and went back to the drawing board and were like, okay, so they were like, here's our core criteria for this non-rotating format. It should feel distinct from other constructed formats. There should be a competitive aspect to it, because originally they said there wasn't going to be any competitive. There wasn't going to be ranked Historic queues, and they want to find a balance for the long-term health of Magic Arena. So the first 2 points, I actually think I think they handled that very, very well. So the first thing is that the making it feel different is that, of course, I mean, it just has all of these cards.
Right,
And,
but it would just feel like extended if they didn't do anything, right? You know, if it
yeah,
was like
but I
2
mean, I
blocks,
think
yeah.
that's fine. So I guess I'm actually of two minds about this part. So because what they've said is that starting in November and then probably quarterly going forward, they're going to add 15 to 20 cards from anywhere in Magic history to Historic on Arena. They're just going to be like, these 15 to 20 cards are now also in Historic. And they said that, you know, it's like the effort, you know, they said, speaking candidly, you know, straight up, the effort and time to code an entire old set onto Arena when only a handful of cards are anyone's gonna care about is, this is me now paraphrasing, a waste of everyone's time.
Right. I mean,
and I completely agree with that.
If they did the whole set, we would draft it too, obviously.
Yeah,
but
that would be sweet.
but
I mean,
that's okay.
The outlay of effort is not worth the return on investment.
I still agree that
Yeah.
probably a waste
this
of
is
time.
slightly related to the, you know, way back in the day on Magic Online. There's like the sort of Masters sets for Magic for the sets that came out before Magic Online was a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they've
Not-
never coded all of Ice Age, except most of the cards are there now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not. There are cards that are missing from even
There's a
Magic
few.
Online.
Yeah. And some of them are just from conspiracy sets too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna. So I don't. I don't know. I guess I don't actually care, if I'm honest about this. I was happy with Historic just being Historic, but they said that they didn't want to just re-add Amonkhet, which is already coded on Arena. They're like, we don't want to just bring that back. We
They
want to.
definitely don't want to bring back all of Kaladesh.
Yeah, they're like, we want to keep it like this, but people were like, that's just bigger standard, and I don't like it. And so they said, all right, fine, we're going to add 15 to 20 random older cards from wherever and really shake it up.
Not random, curated.
Curated,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's like, okay, sure, I don't mind either way. I don't know.
That-
I
oh,
don't know
really?
how you feel about it.
Okay, so that announcement, I'm totally excited about. Like
Okay,
just
sweet.
here so I was excited to hear there'd be competitive queues, but I still didn't care that much. Like I wasn't even gonna care if there was nothing I could do with my old cards, and then if there was the possibility when they first made the announcement that like you're gonna get to play with your Ixalan and forward to the whatever set we're on, and it's not really managed format, I would also be like, well, I don't really care for that either. But if you tell me that they're going to add 50 of like, you know, the best, like the most impactful, like
15.
the most 15? Okay, but maybe they'll do it every year.
15 to 20 about 4 times a year.
Oh, 4 times a year. Right. Okay, so that's like honestly 20 cards for Modern. That's like a block, you know,
Yeah.
or maybe like at least a set, right? Some sets, you know, Innistrad has at least 15 cards. I think
Rather
that
than just
matter,
releasing
but
hundreds of cards, only 20 of which
Yeah.
are relevant, they're just going
they're
to
just
add the 20 relevant
They're
cards.
just going to grab the 20 cards from, you know, all of Shadow's block or all of, you know, 4 core sets or whatever worth of relevant stuff for like a modern-ish format and just stick those in as often as they would stick a set. And that to me is beautiful and a really elegant solution and will make for a very different format if they choose the cards correctly.
Well,
It
also-
feels different and I'm excited to play it.
Presumably, they won't be adding in the do nothing cards.
No,
Oh,
but
yeah,
they also
exactly.
won't add the most important cards from Modern specifically, or from Legacy, because they don't want to add like fetch lands.
Right.
They don't want to
Well,
add
they don't want it to be just
Stoneforge
modern
Mystic.
but missing
Yeah.
some stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I mean,
don't want to add counterspell.
Like
right?
something that I think a lot of people don't take the time to think about is like what this means for the game in 2, 3, 5, 10 years, right? Like everybody is like, oh, this is just, you know, Historic is just extended. It's just bigger standards. Just like, well, yeah, right now, of course it is, but it's also going to grow over time, right? And it's going to become much, much bigger. And when you talk about adding 15 or 20 cards every quarter from Magic's history, and my guess would be probably more likely from Modern history. I don't see them going way back, but who knows?
No,
But-
there's actually plenty of pre-modern cards that would be safe and interesting to shove into current standard.
But
Yeah.
after you do that for 5 years, all of a sudden, maybe Modern is more or less now just on Arena, right?
Well, if they wanted to do it that way, they definitely could. But I'm hoping they won't. If it's going to take us 5 years and then we play Modern on Arena, that's fine too. Like,
Yeah.
and that's exciting. That's basically the same news as hearing like, oh yeah, next week you'll just be able to buy every pack from Modern on Arena.
Sure.
Right? You have to wait 5 years instead or whatever. But like, if that's the goal, that's fine too. But I'm actually more excited for them to like print cards that actually aren't good enough for Modern, but were fun. Like, or do matter.
I like that plan. Yeah.
Like, give us Lotus Cobra, but don't give us Birds of Paradise and Noble Hierarch.
Sure.
You know, Lotus Cobra gets played occasionally in Modern and was a very powerful mana producer in Standard. It did rely on fetch lands, and I said don't produce fetch lands. So maybe Lotus Cobra is a bad example. But
I mean,
if we could just get
we'll just get fetch lands in Zendikar next year, anyways. Right?
yeah,
So-
we might. That was another announcement actually. But anyways, if they manage to just like thread an interesting, new, different format where you play with older cards, but it doesn't feel like Modern, doesn't feel like Legacy, it doesn't feel like Standard, then that's the most exciting thing to me. And I think it's probably the most challenging from the devs' point of view, is just being like, okay, we're going to slowly build this cube.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is like how important is it for Wizards? Like, how many formats can Wizards properly
maintain,
manage?
Sure,
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's
So
a lot.
We know they can do two.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And they've said, where is it? Yeah, no restrictions on set types or rarities, no holds barred. So they'll
what
do
card?
whatever.
They've announced some cards that they like were like.
No, they
maybe-
said maybe Brainstorm.
or Dark Confidant.
Yeah, they said
or-
maybe that. Yeah, exactly.
okay.
So maybe we will
So
get
that-
those cards, but
that
they
was-
haven't promised anything yet.
They won't be announcing the actual cards till November, though.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'd be excited to play with some cards that I don't play in Modern.
Yeah, I think it's a sweet idea. I
Yeah.
actually, you've sold me on it. I was initially like, I don't care, and I said as much 10 minutes ago.
Cool.
But
And so
yeah.
now you know why I'm so mad that they're going to charge us 2 wild cards for every Dark Confidant we want to play.
Real quick, because I did want to hit on the ranked things.
Okay.
Originally, they
All
said
right.
there was not going to be any ranked,
right.
and people were upset about that. And they said, okay, fine, you're right. We will do ranked, so it's going to be it's going to affect your constructed rank, so the same rank as playing Standard. It's going to be best of 3 only, which is I think sweet and correct for something like for a format like Historic.
Sure.
And they said that it's not going to be, at least initially, it's not going to be all the time. They're going to, when the first Historic ranked queue goes up, it's going to be there for about 4 weeks and then go away, and then they'll reevaluate if it's going to be an all-time thing or a sometimes thing. So there's that. Now, yes, this is okay. I'm going to read their words
So
first.
I feel like I didn't know that part. I didn't know they were going to take away the Historic queue too once it's up. Does this mean that the devs are just worried people are going to stop playing Standard? Because I think they
Yeah.
shouldn't. Standard
I
has
think
been
that's
so
the-
great for like several years now. Like since Kaladesh rotated out.
So that's the critical. That's the crux of this whole thing.
I think before Kaladesh got here, it was kind of good for a while there too.
Is the so this has
They've been doing a
always
good job
been-
with Standard though. I think like
Yeah,
Standard is
but
fun.
This has always been Wizards' problem.
Yeah.
Right? Is they want and need everyone to be playing Standard because that's why you have to buy new cards.
Right.
Right? And this has been a problem with Modern, which I think is in most cases more popular. In a lot of cases more popular than Standard, especially when Standard was pretty dire for a while. But Standard's been great for some time now.
I think so.
But it's like Commander is the most popular Magic format.
Right.
It just is. And
Yeah.
so until they started making Commander sets, they were like, well, that's a bunch of gameplay that we're not interacting with in any way because
Right.
we might print like 1 or 2 Commander relevant cards in a Standard set, right? So getting people to play the premier rotating format has always been their challenge, that they're not particularly good at hiding. Right, when they make decisions like this, like you say, like I think it is that maybe they are afraid that if they offer historic ranked ranked historic queues all the time, that people will just play historic and not Standard.
I mean, this is a problem that a lot of games have issues with.
Oh, yeah.
When you offer the reason why game companies don't offer every viable option to play their game is because when you do that, you split your audience in 10 or 20 or 30 different ways.
I mean, this is why they were so reticent to add multiple ranked drafts for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they have done it. I've actually, brief aside, that's been a great decision, Arena people, and I've been loving that, how they said core set is now, like the current set will always be available for ranked draft.
Correct.
And the other ranked draft will rotate. it's been great. I've been like, I'll do 2020. You know what? Now I'm going to do War of the Spark.
Yeah.
Now I've been bouncing back and forth. Been doing some 2020. It's Guilds of Ravnica this week. I've been playing some Guilds of Ravnica. I've been playing some 2020. That's been awesome.
Yep.
Don't change that.
Yep.
This, on the other hand, yeah. So this is what Nelson said so of their criteria we set, this is their words again. Of the criteria we set, bullet point 3 was the trickiest to navigate. The bullet point being finding a balance for the long-term health of Magic Arena. A balance between what and what. It doesn't. So back to their words. We want to ensure that players new to Magic can still learn the ropes and start their collection through Standard and Draft as the primary methods of play. So that's them saying Standard and Draft are to the Arena team's minds the primary methods of play, which is fine. They're allowed to want that. With Historic available to seasoned players looking to experience more of Magic's rich history, but we also need to look at the long-term impact Historic would have on Arena as a whole as we move towards supporting it as a true non-rotating format. And so what they've decided is that we're changing how wildcards work for Historic. Starting after an update in November, crafting a Historic card will require you to redeem 2 wildcards of the appropriate rarity instead of 1. And that's it's a bad idea.
And Historic cards being those 15 to 20?
No, any card
that
Ixalan
rotates
cards.
out?
Yeah.
after the update in November.
Any cards is not in standard.
If I need
Yeah.
a rare from Ixalan that I don't have a playset
That
of,
costs you 2?
then
Yeah.
it'll cost me 2.
Okay, yeah, that's dumb.
Wow,
Yeah.
James is just
Sorry.
hitting it for the first
Yeah,
time. This is
I'm just
great.
getting-
Look
yeah,
at it. You can see a
I-
live react.
Yeah, I hadn't actually paid much attention to that announcement.
Draft only over here.
And I didn't read it because I wasn't actually supposed to be here today. So I was just like, all right, fine, I'll figure out what. So I thought in my mind, when I heard that it's the 2-to-1 Historic,
Yeah.
I just assumed that meant
The special cards.
special cards
No,
that
it's-
come out. That's not a good
Yeah.
idea.
Now,
Everyone
so-
in the first hour of comments that writes, "I'm not even supposed to be here today," I will like all of them.
Cool.
I'll like your comment.
So, something else that they point out is for cards that are in Standard and in an Historic set.
Yeah.
So the example they give is Luminous Bonds, right, which was printed in Rivals of Ixalan and Guilds of Ravnica. Okay, you can play Luminous Bonds in Historic. You can play the Guilds of Ravnica version that you only pay 1 wild card for. You can just play that in Historic.
Yeah, just
Okay.
so it's not confusing.
If you want
To play the
specifically the
Yeah.
art
The
from
art
the
from-
Rivals of Ixalan one,
You have to
that
pay
one
2?
costs 2 wild cards.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, so
crafting historic swamps.
I mean, look,
That'll be 2.
Well, you don't craft basic lands.
No,
Sure.
But like, so
Just so that everyone's clear, they don't think that
you don't even get to do that. I don't know.
No.
Like, last time I tried to build a deck with basic lands, I was only allowed to use 1 anyway. So I assume there's some trick.
once you unlock, so they've done things where you can unlock different art for basic lands. Once you unlock the art for basic land, you can add as many as you want.
All right.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry as to why they're doing it this way. At least in my mind, this is just encouraging you to play a whole lot of draft and standard, so that when it's time to move on to the next set,
You already have
all the cards. That's what they want, right?
Or if you
So-
have only a budget of like $100 for that year
want
or
you to-
whatever, you just are like, well, what can I get more out of? And clearly it's standard.
Or they want you to spend the money to get the wild cards now, so that you can spend the wild cards on the sets before they rotate.
Sure.
You know, and it seems kind of punitive. So this has been widely received as a very bad idea.
No one's happy about this announcement.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to get on Twitter and
Oh,
let
God.
Wizards know.
No, please
if,
no.
If it had
Only
been
sorry, I say that only because I'm not saying don't make your voice heard. Obviously, make your voice heard. I'm just saying people have made their voice heard, and Wizards has said on their dev stream, "We have heard you. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
we don't have anything to say right now."
yeah, I mean, this is. I
So,
mean, they've been.
I just felt so bad for Ashlyn when she was doing that cool stream showing off the Brawl decks.
Oh, yeah, and her chat was filled with people,
was
Oh.
just screaming at her for not addressing
Clearly-
it, and it's like,
clearly
yeah, that's
Ashlyn's
definitely Ashlyn's job.
Not
Yeah.
there to help you with
So
that.
if
that was a cool stream though. Actually,
if
so I
the
love it.
situation
Good
had
job.
been what I actually thought it was, where would you guys land on that? Like if it costs 2-to-1 for all the
For the
15 cards for every
Dark
quarter?
Confidant that they released, would
that
you be
seems
like,
fine.
you know what, that's okay.
That seems fine actually, which is weird because that's like the majority of what you'll do with these 2-for-1 exchanges for the first 2
I
months
still don't like it. I still would not have liked it just because it's just odd when it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's still a feel
wild
bad.
card. Like, great, I'll craft this card. Oh,
Yeah,
it costs
it
me
costs
2
2,
for some
yeah, yeah,
reason.
yeah.
It's not going to be as much of a feel bad as realizing you only have 2 root bound crags and have to put down 4 wild cards when you need it or something.
I feel like it does start straying into that area of, we talked about before that, like, when we're doing Friday nights or whatever, we can't acknowledge the secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
And this is sort of, it's not a secondary market, but it is sort of admission that some cards are worth more than other cards in a weird way.
Yeah.
Which is something that they've
strange in a digital
which is
product.
something that they've sort of previously kind of shied away from, aside from like rarities.
Yeah.
So like the idea that certain cards from certain sets are now
it's
going
not
to be
even-
worth more than
But
the
it's just
previous.
they kind of get away with it by it being every card from that set.
Right, yeah,
Like,
even a common will take 2 wild cards.
Yeah, if you want this random common from Ixalan
To be
in 6
fair,
months,
I
it's
have-
going to cost you
To
2.
be fair, I
yeah.
have so many common and uncommon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right
wild
now the
cards.
choke is just rares. Is anyone even low on mythic wild cards? Like I have like 24 mythic wild cards I don't need.
I
or
don't
whatever.
even know.
But I have exactly
I got like
6
16
rare
or
wild
something.
cards. Okay, yeah. But
Basi- I'm-
the
I'm-
decks usually cost rare wild cards.
Yeah.
It seems like
I'm,
now.
I'm to the point of where when I'm drafting and like I open a mythic or something, I'll
Sure.
go to the collection and see
Sure,
like
check, yeah.
Oh, I've got 3 of them. Craft the 4th one. Go back to the draft. Pick
Get the
it. Get
gems.
my gems. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm on that level of the grind of how much I've got from the core set.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the 2-for-1 historic wildcards is a bad thing, and I suspect, based on previous interactions, that Wizards will probably change it.
I hope so.
Like the so there was a tweet being shared around from John Laux, actually, who we've talked to before.
Original limited resources.
Not
One-
original.
Not original.
Not original.
That was Ryan Spain.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Ryan Spain.
Former co-host of Limited Resources,
Right.
then worked for quite a while at Wizards on MitGo.
on Moto, yeah.
And was instrumental on making the Magic Online team and R&D actually talk to one another. Because
Yeah.
he told, there's a great interview with him with Marshall, actually, after he left Wizards, where he was talking about, there was like a card from Theros block that was like, you have to divide it, you take some cards and divide them into 3 piles, and then one gets exiled. It was this very, very strange card. It was like some sort of scrying, not literally the mechanic scrying, but like
The theme of the card was scrying.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was really, really difficult. The way it was templated was really difficult to program in
Right.
Magic Online. And he was like, why did you do it like that when you could have done it like this? And the card would have been the same basic effect, but it would have been way easier to program. And they were like, oh, we didn't even think of that because we don't talk to you guys. And he was like, oh my God, okay. We need to actually. So then that's when
Thank you, John Laux.
That's when they
Yeah.
started communicating more, where R&D would be like, hey, we have an idea for this card. And the Magic Online team could be like, cool, that's impossible, don't. And then they'd be like, oh, what if we did it this way? Great, that's better. Yeah, Whims of the Fates. This was the
Right.
card. It was starting with you. Each player separates all permanents into 3 piles. Then each player chooses one of his or her piles at random and sacrifices those permanents. Piles can be empty.
a dumb card.
It was, yeah, exactly. And it's like, sure, you can just say that and it's fine, but to actually put it into a program was a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So anyway, John Laux, who obviously from that interview does not hide frustrations that he had working at Wizards. It's ultimately why he left. He was saying that when he was on the MitGo team, when they couldn't decide between 2 sort of like reward levels for a given event or something, or how much an event would cost, or what you'd get out of an event, when they couldn't decide, they would announce the worst one. And if there
okay.
was enough backlash, then they would go, okay, we'll go the other way. Which is, now to be fair, that is distinct from we want it to be this, so we'll announce something bad
Yeah.
and then pull it back to the thing that we want it to be, making the community feel like they got something from us, which is how people are interpreting that tweet.
Okay.
Which is not what he's saying. I just want to make that clear. He's saying that when the teams couldn't decide, when they're like, should it be this or should it be this? Is this too bad? Is this too generous? How do we do this? Well, I guess let's announce the worst one, and if people are cool with it, then we'll go with that, or then we'll do the other thing. That's it. It's subtle, but I do think it's an important distinction that they're not just being like, we want it to be this, so we'll announce something shitty,
Right.
and then wait till people get mad about it. But I imagine that that's what they're doing here. I have to assume
It's certainly-
that they're sort of like, well, we could do it this way or this way. People probably won't like this one as much as this one, so let's float it out there and see.
I mean, my guess would be the one that people won't like as much is generally going to be the one that's better for their bottom line.
Of course. Of course.
So, let's float this one because this is the one that we probably want, or at least our bosses probably want. And if the backlash, as you say, is loud enough,
Which it
and
definitely
angry
has
enough,
been.
and it has been for this one, and it's
Yeah.
been like this for a bunch of stuff. Although I will admit that this one probably seems like the most angry
Yeah.
the arena community has been
In a while.
a while. But
It's unfortunate too because the rest of this State of the Beta update was great.
Yeah.
I thought I was reading through and I was like, oh, this is all excellent.
The plan for
all
this
sounds
format is great. Like, I'm very excited to see what these cards are, and I'm very
Yeah.
excited to play this format.
But yeah, I mean, they've been very responsive in the past, and I see no reason why they won't be going forward. One of the other things that was announced is a proper release day for Arena.
Yeah.
Oh, right, the beta's finally
so the
coming to a
beta
close.
is finally coming to a close, which means I don't know.
Right.
So it means it's going to be available over on the Epic Store, so that's good. It means
Or
that-
just download from their site. It's
or
not.
just-
It's not exclusive to the Epic
yeah,
Store.
it's the third-party exclusive, which is cool and
Sure.
I think super great. You can still download from their store. I hope that we obviously get this Mac client that they talked about very recently.
Yes, they did recently reiterate.
recent-
They're
yeah.
like it comes out of beta at this time, and then after that, there will be a Mac client.
I had not heard that, and I'm
Yes.
also overjoyed to hear that.
So that's
Thank
very
you.
good.
Can I jump in and stop you? What is the Epic Store? I don't know.
Oh, Epic Games has
Okay.
their own digital storefront, a la Steam.
Okay. This is the company that makes Fortnite?
Correct.
Yes, okay. that is correct. There has been a whole big brouhaha in the gaming community, I'm using air quotes here, around the Epic Store that I don't want to drill down into right now because it's a real quagmire. But essentially, they've been very aggressively courting Epic Store exclusives and pulling things away from Steam. And people have a problem with that because the Epic Store as it exists right now is not really feature complete. It doesn't have a shopping cart. Like, you can go and buy one game, but you can't. They had a sale, and so you had to go and buy each game individually. You couldn't be like, oh, I want to buy these 3 games that are on sale. You had to things like that.
So it's like a worse version of Steam right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
And a lot of people's game library is all kind of all in Steam already, so it's just
Right.
it's super annoying to have another client
Right.
to have a bunch of stuff in.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah. And there have been a few instances where it's like a game that was on Kickstarter, and one of the Kickstarter tiers was you'll get a Steam code when it comes out, and now they're saying that no, Epic's paid us a bunch of money so we can live, so we're going to go on being Epic exclusive, and so that's upsetting people because they're like, I didn't want it on Epic, I wanted it on Steam, even though they are just different digital storefronts.
Sure. But some developers are like going back on their promises, kind
But
of.
the
right?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't. That's why I don't want to get too deep into it. But in the case of Magic,
in the end result here, it's going to be available on the app. Is it
Okay,
also
sure.
available on Steam?
No.
no, but it's
Oh, okay.
just you can
No,
just
it-
download it from their website.
So
That's the
like
thing.
you can now.
Yes, you don't.
I mean-
you don't have to get the Epic launcher or whatever
Right,
it is
yeah.
to get Magic Arena. You can just download it from their website.
Yeah.
Also, it's on the Epic Store.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an additional thing as opposed to an instead of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Epic Store is a very clear play to get a whole lot of new people's eyes
Yeah.
on the game, right? Because anybody who is already playing Arena doesn't need to go to the Epic Store to continue to do so. Anybody who is wise enough in the ways of Magic that they know that they can just go to Wizard's site and download it directly will continue to do so. But all of those kids playing Fortnite are now going to open up the Epic Store every day and be
Magic
greeted
Arena.
with Magic Arena and being like, hey, what's this? It's free to play. Download. And
Yeah.
that's good. So,
Yeah, makes sense to me.
yeah.
I was thinking something, and then James said Ways of Magic, and now it's just Stevie Nicks up here. That's all I got. It's only Stevie. I remember now. So just quickly back to the 2-for-1 wildcards thing. I don't mind paying more for Historic. I think it's going to be it's adding more value to my arena experience. It's giving me more options for how I play Magic. I already really enjoy playing Standard and Draft. I even enjoy playing Brawl this week. I don't even normally play Commander, but that was fun. And I'm looking forward to this new format. It's just this 2-for-1 Wildcards announcements was a hell vault. It was Wizards giving us something ultimately good that everyone wants, but managing to package it in a way that pisses almost everyone off.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I just want to give that to whoever's, actually maybe listening to this.
Do you think
putting it out in the ether that like I don't mind having to pay more, but you got to let me pay more without a feel bad.
Do you think that people are overestimating how much of a pain in the ass this actually is?
Possibly. It's so impossible to tell before we know what the format looks like, right?
Yeah.
So sure, the first season, I mean, probably if they don't come back on the announcement and turn it around in mid-September, there's gonna be a bunch of people trying to just finish their Ixalan block sets, like going through and just like crafting whatever rares they think are going to necessarily be like, definitely get all your check lands, probably finish all your sets of check lands, and like, I don't know, maybe make sure you have at least 2 of the good planeswalkers or something.
I mean, certainly you would go after anything that has been playable in Standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly.
I think for the first season, if you just manage to keep, if you just manage to get what has been playable in Standard for the last, 2 years, then you'll probably be fine, because I don't see anything breaking out in this format in particular.
So if you've been playing a lot of Arena, it's like you probably already did that, right? You probably already have a bunch of decks. So it won't matter that much, and there's only be 20 cards the first season that you care about, right? But if they're all regular rare, then that's kind of a pain, right?
Yeah.
If they release like 8 awesome commons and uncommons, then like no one's going to care. It's like, okay, lightning bolts in Historic, great. Give me 8 of your wild cards you don't care about. Like then no one's going to actually care. But if it's just like a bunch of powerful rares, if it's just like Noble Hierarch and Grim Lavamancer, then it's a problem. And Path to Exile, but it's rare, haha.
I will reiterate, I'm not a fan of the 2-for-1. I do not like it. I think it's a bad idea, but I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like it sounds bad, but in action it's sort of like, it's not as bad. And like, it sucks, but not as bad.
The thing is too that we've all been really loud on. You're saying the community has already been plenty loud on all of the ways that you can be loud, but maybe this idea hasn't come through. Is just that like people do care about this format. They're looking forward to playing it, and so if you just let us play or pay 1 wild card, like the normal rate for these cards, we're going to do that, and then we're going to run out of wild cards like we normally do when we run out of standard decks that we can build, and we are going to pay more money. Like we're going to go and buy more packs and buy more gems and stuff to get the wild cards so that we can play Historic, even if we only have to pay like half as much.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're just going to want to build Historic decks as well. So I don't know.
I think it's related to the thing you were saying about the they try the worst thing first.
Yeah.
Is I think in these modern, especially like sort of card game stuff, but like the economy in a game like this, the online economy is so complicated. Like there's so many different little knobs in terms of that they can, how often you get wild cards, what you use the wild cards for, how many things you can do per day. Like there's so many different little knobs that you can turn on that honestly, we as players and they as even the people making it don't really know how bad or how good a particular thing is really.
I agree.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Before they do it, and so they're like, "Is this bad?"
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, it turned out to be really bad. Let's not do that.
Yeah. Maybe in November we'll be like, "Lol, remember when I had to craft or spend 8 wild cards and I was going to be all worried about it?"
I will say, I guess that's my point with the people interpreting that John Lauk's tweet in its worst possible interpretation, which relates to what we talked about last episode. I don't believe that this. I do not have a tinfoil hat theory where I believe that this 2-for-1 announcement is actively malicious from Wizards or the Arena team. Like I think like what Paul said. I think they were like, sure, that makes sense. Let's do that. And I don't think that they're like sitting atop their pile of gems being like, ha ha ha, now we can really gouge them to play Historic. I don't feel like it's actively malicious. yes, as we've said before, at the end of the day, they're a business and they need to. Their whole thing is make money, and everything that they do is in the interest of making money. But I don't think that they're sort of like, we'll really F them with this.
I mean,
one.
I wouldn't be actually surprised if they were are looking at the stats of like how many wild cards unused people have in their accounts.
Exactly.
And are just like, this is kind of weird, or this is kind of dumb, but there's all these wild cards that people just aren't using.
Yeah.
Well, it's all Marshall's fault for just like
maybe it's
taking
like
the average and like destroying it by
Yeah,
only
yeah.
playing limited
It's
and
sort of
just accruing
supply and demand
millions
thing, right?
of
Yeah.
extra wild cards and vault
He
progresses.
should use
right?
them so that he gets gems.
It's true.
Ryan should tell him these things.
He probably already has all the cards too, just
yeah.
from drafting them
Yeah.
all,
Probably right.
getting
That's a good
last pick
point.
rares and stuff.
Okay. It's been
We're
an
gonna talk
hour
about
and
Throne
we
of
didn't-
spoilers
we
later.
didn't talk about Throne of Eldraine
We'll
spoilers.
talk
We
about-
did a little bit.
It's true. We did
That's
talk
true.
a little bit, but we'll save it till next week when there are even more spoilers.
What's your favorite of our 5 that we got to preview?
It's the land we're previewing from, right?
Yeah, probably
the Witch's Cottage.
Witch's Cottage, I think.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
fetch this with a Bloodstain Mire, and then it does something
you
sometimes.
Can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have like the option of getting it early because you need the trigger, or getting it late because you need the mana.
So it's
I
a
also really like the art.
It's a land. It's a swamp.
it's a very interesting card. Very
So it's a
interesting design.
non-basic swamp. So it taps for black. ETB's tapped unless you control 3 or more other swamps. If it enters untapped, then you get to put a creature from your graveyard on top of your library, so you can draw it next
I
turn.
dig this card. Yes,
Like,
I think it's cool.
The thing I dig the most about this card is that like the way at ETB is tapped or untapped is like the opposite of the normal path that you would want it to, right? Like
Yeah.
typically you want to jam more value into the late game where you have lots of resources, like at least lots of mana. You might not have lots of cards in hand anymore because you've spent them. And in the early game, you really want mana, right? You just want your lands to come into play untapped so you can spend as much mana as you can in the first 4 turns. But I like that this card forces you to choose one or the other, and it's fetchable, so you can put it in a deck that isn't just entirely reliant on swamps to cast spells. And yeah, it's just cool design.
Yeah.
So
I
I was going to say the Merfolk too.
I was gonna say I just want the I want the wishful merfolk. I want other merfolk to like take her aside and be like, you can just attack people as a merfolk. You don't have to go on land to kill people. You can just do it from the water.
Yeah, mess
we've
up
been
folks
doing
in
it
the
for a
sea.
long time.
The Wishful Merfolk, by the way, it's 1 and a blue for a 3/2 Defender Merfolk. And for 1 and a blue, Wishful Merfolk loses Defender and becomes a human until end of turn. That's just a very clean design of the Tale of the Little Mermaid. But I love this card because of the flavor text, which is, she yearned to walk on dry land so she might take her vengeance there. I love it.
yeah.
Anyway, okie dokie, that is going to do it for this episode of Tap Tap Concede. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, please, and thank you.
Ring that bell.
Yeah, click on the bell, do all the dance, all that rigmarole, like, share, and subscribe, all those things. Like, comment, and subscribe, or share. Like and share and comment and subscribe and
Ring that bell.
Say something nice to someone that you care about. Until next time, we're brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. And of course, everything that we do is brought to you directly by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. I'm Graham.
I'm James.
I'm Nelson.
And Paul's on tech, and Heather puts these online, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.